Hello everyone. So in this video, we are going to learn how to make a basic chess game in Scratch. Okay, so this is the chess game that we are going to make in this video. Let's try and play it. So we are moving our mouse with the arrow keys and we have to catch the muffins and we have to reach to a score before the timer runs out. We can obviously move left and right and we have to reach to a certain score before the timer runs out. And we lose because we did not reach that particular score. And let's try winning the game. And let's first learn about the platform of Scratch. This is our editor window. This in the center is our editor window, right? And in here at the very corner we have our blocks window where we can drag and drop any block, and whatever we write in our editor window, it is what will run at the stage window, right? So this is our editor window. Whatever code we write here, so it's moved 10 steps, and we see that the cat in the stage area moves 10 steps. And this is our blocks, our set of blocks from which we can choose. And in here is our sprite span, where you can add any sprite from this library here, and then you can fix its name, you can fix its location, its size, and its direction. And this is where you can choose a sprite from. If you click here or if you click here, you will choose a sprite from the existing library that stands out here. If you go back and if you say paint, then you can paint any sprite of your own choice. If you say surprise, then any surprise sprite would come and pop up in your sprite window. And if you upload, you can upload any sprite from the internet as well. And same goes for the backdrops here. And you can choose any backdrop from the existing library. You can paint, you can add a surprise backdrop, or you can upload. Now let's start with with the chase game without any further ado. Chase game is basically, it has two sprites. One is chasing the other sprite. Let's add our two sprites first. So I'll just choose from the existing library here. So we'll need so first you can think of your own story. I'm adding a mouse, which is my chasing sprite. Okay, let's make our mouse chase a muffin. Okay, and this is what needs to be that is being chased, and mouse is the one that is chasing. I can also select a backdrop, and I would go with a bedroom backdrop where a mouse is trying to chase a muffin. I'll decrease the size of my muffin to a 50 so that it's smaller than the mouse. And now the mouse is chasing the muffin. Okay, so I've selected my backdrop and I've selected my sprites. Now let's move on to the main and the most important part of a coding project, which is adding which is like coding, right? So first of all, what we want to do is we want to add an event block. What are events block? It helps the computer to run the code when something external happens out of the screen, right? It triggers the code and now the code starts running. So it tells the computer when they need to start running the code, something external that happens. And what do I want to do is whenever I click on any of the arrow keys, so my mouse is moving with arrow keys, right? So whenever I click any of the arrow keys, my mouse moves in that direction. That is something I want to do right now. So I'll just take out the event block when a certain key is pressed, and let's go with the right arrow key pressed. Obviously here we are using coordinates, so in Scratch the coordinates are divided. The screen is divided in a two coordinate system where the center is 0 0. Let's move our mouse to the center 0 0, and we see that our mouse stands out in the very middle of the screen. And now if and the vertical axis is y-axis. If I move by positive numbers, it will move up. If I move by negative numbers, it will move down. And if I change x by positive numbers, it will move to the right. And if I change x by negative numbers, it will move to the left. So let's say right. So if when the right arrow key is pressed, we need to make it move to the right. So we can just we can change x by 10. And when my left arrow key is pressed, then I want to change x by minus 10. Okay, also when my up arrow key is pressed, I want to change the y coordinate. So I'll just go here in the motion section and I'll drag out to change y by 10, and I'll duplicate this module by right clicking it, and then I'll just select down arrow key and I'll change y by -10. So now the basic movement of the mouse is ready. I can run the app and let's see. So when I'm pressing my arrow keys, my mouse is also moving in the direction that it's supposed to move. Now let's move on to the muffin and let's try to code the muffin. The first thing that we want to do is we want that whenever the game starts, the muffin needs to move in all directions. So I'll drag out the event block when green flag is clicked, and then I want it to move 10 steps. I want it to move around the screen, right? So I'll select move 10 steps, and as I want to move it forever and I want to keep doing the thing, I'll use loops. Loops, you can go into controls and find the forever loop. This will help the mouse move forever 10 steps. Now let's see what happens. Now we see that the muffin is moving 10 steps, but once it's on the edge, it stops, and we do not want that. So let's go to the motion section and let's drag out if on edge, then bounce. Now it keeps bouncing. Now one thing that I want to do is I want it to move in different directions. So I'll just start with a different direction here, and I'll just start with a 45-degree. Now that when it bounces, it does not go in a specific direction, but it goes all over the screen and it keeps bouncing. Now my mouse needs to chase this muffin, right? So the coding, the movement of the muffin is ready and the movement of the mouse is ready. Now the next thing that we need to do is add a score, which is a crucial element in our game. So we'll go to controls and we will first of all go to variables and we'll make a variable. We'll make a variable score. Okay, so variables basically help us store information and then we can use it later to extract that information. It's like a box, you can store information in it and then you can use it later, and you can also change that information. So whenever you're using variables, you have to follow 3 steps: make, then set, and then you have to change it. So first of all, we have made a variable which is score. Now let's set it. Always you'll set a variable at the start of the game. So score, we'll set it to 0 at the start of the game, and then we need to change the variable. So when do we want to change my variable? I want to change score by 1 when the mouse touches the muffin. So let's add conditionals here. Conditionals help us decide if some code should run or not. So let's drag out a conditional and place it inside the forever loop. We are placing conditionals inside the forever loop because we want to keep checking throughout the game forever, again and again, if the mouse is touching the muffin. For checking if it's touching or not, let's go to the sensing section here and let's drag the touching block here, and then you can, from the drop down, select that when the muffin is touching the mouse, right? So we are in the muffin, we are calling the muffin. So muffin, when we are checking if muffin is touching the mouse, then we change score by 1. Right now, let's see what happens. Let's move our mouse and let's try to catch the muffin. It's running everywhere. I should just... Okay, and you see that the score increased to 9, which is a huge increase in score. And again, now it increased to 90, when it should just be 2. This is happening because the score is increasing so fast. When it in its motion, the muffin's motion, it still detects that it's keep touching the mouse, and that's why the score increases so rapidly. So for that, we will add a wait block here. So let's go to controls, and at the very top you find a wait block here, and you make it wait for around 0.5 seconds when it first changes the score. So every time it changes the score, it waits 0.5 seconds, and then only it can change the score again. So let's run the code now, and you will see that when our mouse touches our muffin, our score increases slowly. Okay, and now you see that our score increased slowly. However, what is happening is that there's a little bit of a slowdown in our game because it detects the motion, it detects the touching of the mouse with the muffin, and then it stops for 0.5 seconds. So to eradicate that stop, what we can do is we can hide the muffin the moment the muffin touches the mouse, and then what we can do is we can make it go to a random place, and then we can show it again at the very end when the 0.5 seconds end. So we'll go to the motion look section and we'll show it again here. Let's now run again, and now let's see our game. Okay, so now it vanished and it hit for a second. Now it again shows at a random position and keeps moving, and we need to catch it. So let's just try catching it real quickly. Okay, I'm very bad at this and I cannot catch it very easily, but you know how the gist of the game, and you see that it appears at a random position. Okay, so we are done with this one. Now what we need to do is we want to add a winning condition to the game, that if it reaches to a certain We want to add a winning condition to our game, that if it reaches to a certain score, then we want the mouse to win. So for that, let's go to the so let's add another conditional, and the condition is that if my score is greater than 5, then I win the game. So let's go to the operators and drag out this greater than sign here, and we say that if it is greater than 5, and we go to the variable section here, and I put score in here. So if score is greater than 5, then I need to stop everything, because the game is now over and we have won the game. And I want the muffin to say that you win, or the mouse to say you win. We are in the muffin section, so let's make the muffin say you win. So we go into the looks and we'll drag out say you win, some exclamation marks, and here we can add 10 seconds. And now let's see what happens. Let's make our Okay, so the muffin hid, and while it was hiding, I stopped the game. So something that I need to make sure is I want to show the muffin at the very beginning. So let's start the game again. And now I'm catching the muffin. I've reached the score 3, a 4, and a 5, and I would increase the score to a solid 6. And now everything stops and it says that you win. Now let's try to add a game over a you win screen in the backdrop as well, so that a you win message pops up in the backdrop. So let's go to the stages section here, and let's go to backdrops here, and we'll right click and duplicate this backdrop, and we'll just write you win on the very top of it. So you win. Awesome. We'll make this you win a little huge, and now we'll name this backdrop as well to you win. And let's go to code section again. Let's go to muffin here, and if score is greater than 5, we switch backdrop to you win, and at the start we want the backdrop to be the basic backdrop. Now let's test our game. So the score is 1, 2, 3, 1 missed the 4, 4, and 5, and 6. And there is a backdrop switch to you win, and the muffin also says you win. Okay, so that's cool. Now what do we need to add is our timer. So this must be a time-based game, so that there is a you lose condition as well. So let's go ahead and add timer. For timers, we again would need to make a variable, and that variable also shows here. You can adjust it wherever you want on the screen. And then I want this timer to be set as maybe 20 seconds at the start of the game. And then what I need to do is I want to change the timer after every 1 second. So let's add a new block here. So when green flag is clicked, we are adding a parallel block, because we don't want anything else to wait but just the timer to wait. So let's drag out or set my variable timer into this module. Let's set it to timer, set timer to 20. Then you can go into a forever. Okay, we'll run a loop, and we'll wait every 1 second, and after every 1 second we will change our timer by 1. But this will just increase this timer, so we'll just change it by -1, and this will decrease the timer when the game starts. So it's springy, then it needs to keep decreasing, but it's not decreasing because we haven't changed my variable to timer. And let's test it again, and now we see that the timer keeps decreasing after every 1 second. Now we want this timer to stop at a particular time, and do not want to go we do not want it to go into negative numbers. So we'll again go into controls, we'll take out a conditional here, and we'll say that if, again into operators, if timer is equals to 0, so we'll drag out timer from the variables. So if timer is equal to 0, then we need to stop everything, as the game is again now ending, and we want to display the you lose backdrop. So let's go to the stages again. Let's add another backdrop, and let's name it you lose. Okay, so once we have made our backdrop, we will name it you lose. And then we can go to the code again. Let's go to the muffin again, and now we'll switch the backdrop you lose. And for testing purposes, let's shorten our timer to 5 seconds. And now let's run the green flag again in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And as we did not get the score that we were required to get, we lose the game. Again, we set the timer again to 20, and that is our game of a chase game, with which has also a winning as well as a losing condition, and it has a score which increases every time the mouse succeeds in chasing the muffin. So that's it for this game. Hope you enjoyed this game thoroughly, and if you like the game and if you like the content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and like the game.